कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांता स्वामीति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण Xavier, you are there?
Yes, I'm here.
You became a little late today from the work?
Yes.
You came just now?
No, I've been home for a little bit.
Okay. Okay, so we were discussing on this characters of pure devotion service. So we had discussed, I think, yeah, this one we have done it, right? So now we have to read Krishna consciousness, all auspicious, correct? From here we have to read it, if I'm not wrong. Yes. You can read, Xavier, Prabhu.
1 second, please.
Virat, you can read.
Sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Srila Rupa Goswami has given a definition of auspiciousness. He says that actual auspiciousness means welfare activities for all the people of the world. At the present moment, groups of people are engaged in welfare activities in terms of society, community, or nation. This is even an attempt in the form of the United Nations for the World Help Activity. But due to the shortcomings of limited national activities, such a general mass welfare program for the whole world is not practically possible. The Krishna conscious movement, however, is so nice that it can render the highest benefit to the entire human race. Everyone can be attracted by this movement and everyone can feel the result. Therefore, Rupa Goswami and other learned scholars agreed that a broad propaganda program for the Krishna consciousness movement of devotional service all over the world is the highest humanitarian welfare activity.
Yeah, so this is the topic under Shubhada. Shubhada means Krishna consciousness brings all auspiciousness. So, so the first one we discussed was Kleshagni, means it relieves us from all the distresses, distresses of this material existence. And this one is Shubhada, the definition of auspiciousness. It says that actual auspiciousness means welfare activities for all the people of the world. But so many varieties of wars are going on in society, community, and nation. And so he's saying there is even an attempt in the form of the United States for the World Help Activity, but due to the shortcomings of limited national activities, such as general mass welfare program for the whole world is not practically possible. So though they are, Prabhupada always say, though they are trying to have United Nations, but they're always getting more and more divisions. So many new nations are coming up. They're not able to have actually the United Nations, truly speaking. They're getting more and more divided. And so much of war situation, even now also the war situation is going on, you know that. So the Krishna consciousness movement, however, is so nice that it can the highest benefit to the entire human race. Everyone can be active with this movement and everyone can feel the result. Therefore, some other learned scholars agree that a broad propaganda program for Krishna consciousness movement is the highest humanitarian welfare activity because it brings people closer in their spirit. Like they don't see any kind of external factors to have that discrimination and to have hatred, to have envy and all that. So it dissolves all those, the very root of the very root factors which creates this kind of, warfare situations and inauspicious situations in the human race. So that's why Krishna consciousness, it purifies the heart of individually and collectively. The hearts are purified, and very easily people can be, united in with one spirit of serving Krishna, pleasing Krishna, like that. The Prabhupada said that I have made a home, we have built a home in which whole world can live peacefully, happily, like that. So that is only because of their awakened spirit to love God, serve God, like that. So when we develop a love for God, then we can respect every living entity, because we can see that how every living entity is dear to Krishna, and then we can actually love God and then love everyone also. Then there won't be any kind of inauspiciousness. And then there'll be automatically there'll be welfare activity for everyone. Yes. Xavier, would you like to read?
Sure. How the right there, right? How the Krishna consciousness movement can attract the attention of the whole world, and how each and every man can feel pleasure in this Krishna consciousness is stated in the Padma Purana as follows. A person who is engaged in devotional service a person who is engaged in devotional service in full Krishna consciousness is to be understood to be doing the best service to the whole world and to be pleasing everyone in the world. In addition to human society, he is pleasing even the trees and animals because they also become attracted by such a movement. A practical example of this was shown by Lord Chaitanya when he was traveling through the forest of Jharkhand in central India for spreading his Sankirtana movement. The tigers, the elephants, the deer, and all the other wild animals joined him and were participating in their own ways by dancing and chanting Hare Krishna.
Yes. This is great, no? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he could make even tigers and all the animals of Jharkhand forest also dance in ecstasy. You can see. So Krishna consciousness movement can attract the attention of the whole world, and each and every man can feel pleasure in this Krishna consciousness. So because the nature of bhakti is that it creates bliss. No? Transcendental happiness is perceived by any person who engages in Krishna consciousness. So he's saying that how each and every man can feel pleasure in this Krishna consciousness. And when whosoever is engaged in devotional service is doing the best service to the whole world, and to pleasing everyone in the world. In addition to that, is pleasing even the trees and the plants and animals. They also become attracted by this movement. So the very nature of devotional services, it is bliss producing. It is giving pleasure to oneself and others also, like that. So this is the nature of devotional service. So if somebody is engaging in devotional service, he is doing the best welfare activity, because by that he will become happy with Krishna, and then he will go and announce to the whole world how I'm happy with you, with my Krishna, and then that's preaching. In one senior Vaishnava was saying that preaching means how happy I am with my Krishna. That's preaching. Because then people also want to be happy, but people also want to be with Krishna, so that they'll also become happy, because they see something very uncommon happiness and satisfaction in you. And when you are engaged in devotional service, so that's a very good example. So in the world is actually looking for the example. Those people who are living examples for others to get inspired to engage in devotional service. So we should also be practicing Krishna consciousness very sincerely. And then that will itself create a very good example for people, because you yourself will become very happy, satisfied, and you are living a pure life of devotion and character. And that itself is a very good example for people to take up Krishna consciousness. And then they will also become happy. That's why it's a very auspicious moment. And that's how it's the highest welfare activity. Best service you can do the whole world, by sincerely engaging in devotional service, you can see. So tigers, elephants, deers, and all other wild animals also join him, participating in their own ways. Just by Mahaprabhu's he's being the highest devotee. Of course, he's a Lord, but he has come in the mood of a devotee, in the mood of Radharani. And then he's inducing everybody to chant Hare Krishna, and they all will become happy. So in the following the footsteps of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we can also spread the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then people actually can take up Krishna consciousness and they can become happy. Yes. Poonam Mataji, you like to read?
Yes, Guruji. Furthermore, a person engaged in Krishna consciousness, acting in devotional service, can develop all the good qualities that are generally found in the demigods. It is said by Sukdev Goswami in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 18th chapter, verse 12, My dear king, persons who have unflinching faith in Krishna and are without any duplicity can develop all the good qualities of the demigods. One account of a devotee's high grade of Krishna consciousness, even the demigods like to live with him. And therefore, it can be understood that the qualities of the demigods have developed within his body.
So this is what happens if somebody practices devotion service nicely. He develop all the good qualities. So we may be sometimes feeling, oh, how it is. We see devotees, but they have problems. They have certain other kinds of qualities which I don't like. No, but if he is getting purified by engaging in devotion service, gradually he will develop. Because a person who is engaged in Krishna consciousness, acting in devotion service, then he will develop eventually. All these good qualities will come gradually. That's why we should remain patient also with devotees, because devotees are on the right track. They are under shower. So gradually they will develop all the good qualities. And the foremost quality of a devotee is that he is taking shelter of the Supreme Lord. That's the foremost quality. That's why that is called queen quality, because that queen quality is there, your king quality is there, then all the other things will follow. So that's why one should respect the Vaishnavas, even though sometimes they may have some faults, some flaws, some kind of natures which you may not like, some kind of qualities which you may not find sometimes, which is not so pleasing to you. But because they're having that one very important quality that they're taking shelter of Krishna, we should be able to respect Vaishnavas like that. So my dear king, persons of unflinching faith in Krishna without independence can develop all the good qualities that we know. Sometimes we fail to see people with a vision of a Vaishnava. We think, oh, he's crazy, he has this bad thing, that bad thing. The first thing that, but he's a Vaishnava. You should know, because he's accepting Krishna as Supreme Lord, is chanting Hare Krishna. So he's a Vaishnava. And then as a Vaishnava, we should offer respect to him. Yes. Sometimes you may not be able to associate because of certain qualities, certain things, what he may be, struggling with, and that may affect you in some way. That way you may keep some distance, okay, but respectful. You should be respectful. You should know that Vaishnavas are under shower. They are getting purified. All the demigod qualities will develop in the person. So even demigods also like to live with him. So that can mean that quality demigods have developed in the body. Okay. Yes, Virat, would you like to read further?
Sure, Prabhuji. On the other hand, a person who is not in Krishna consciousness has no good qualities. He may be highly educated from an academic point of view, but in the actual field of his activities, he can be seen to be baser than the animals. Even though a person is highly educated academically, if he cannot go beyond the sphere of mental activities, then he is sure to perform only material activities and thus remain impure. There are so many persons in the modern world who have been highly educated in the materialistic universities, but it is seen that they cannot take up the movement of Krishna consciousness and develop the high qualities of the demigods.
Good. So you can see there are people who may be apparently having many good qualities, but because they're not devotees, so sometimes they have very beastly kind of nature, in the sense they will be grossly addicted to sex life or sinful habits like meat eating, gambling, all that they may be doing sometimes, right? So they're very impure in their habits. Sometimes you find that, and they're taking shelter of their own impure mind actually. That's why they're prone to do many sinful and material activities actually. Even though they may be highly educated from academic point of view. And we find also, there are so many people graduating from Harvard, MIT, great institutions, because they don't have any spiritual education. No Krishna consciousness is there. So you can find that how they are having so many varieties of wrong habits. You can often see in MIT, Harvard, all these places, they have the girlfriend, boyfriend. They are smoking. Today we are in the northeast. Some 3 boys were there from India. They were, when they came, we were trying to give books, but they went in the corner. They're smoking. So see, that's what happens, and they're freely mixing with women, coming the girlfriend, boyfriends, all this kind of beastly activities, because it's like kutta kutti, in the street they are roaming around. So same way they also become like that. They don't, though they don't understand. They are simply going by animal instincts. They don't understand that. That's not culture. That is uncultured. It's completely uncultured way they live. But they think that they have become advanced because they're very educated. They cannot go beyond the sphere of mental activity. So mind is completely uncontrolled and impure. Yeah. So, but you see that they cannot take up the movement of Krishna consciousness and develop the high quality of the demigods. So many persons in the modern world who have been highly educated in the materialistic universities, but they cannot take up the movement of Krishna consciousness and develop the high quality of the demigods. So, Xavier, will read.
Yes. Let's see here. For example, a Krishna conscious boy, even if he is not very well educated by the university by the university standard, can immediately give up all illicit sex life, gambling, meat eating, and intoxication, whereas those who are drunkards, meat eaters, sex
No,
mongers,
because those who are not in Krishna consciousness.
oh yeah, okay. Whereas those who are not in Krishna consciousness, although very highly educated, are often drunkards, meat eaters, sex mongers, and gamblers. These are practical proofs of how a Krishna conscious person becomes highly developed. Let's see here.
In good qualities.
Yeah, these are Krishna conscious person becomes highly developed in good qualities, whereas a person who is not in Krishna consciousness cannot do so. We experience that even a young boy in Krishna consciousness is unattached to cinemas, nightclubs, naked dance shows, restaurants, liquor shops, etc. He becomes completely freed. He saves his valuable time from being extravagantly spent in the way of smoking, drinking, attending the theater, and dancing.
Next, you can read. Next person.
One who is not in Krishna consciousness usually cannot sit silently, even for half an hour. The yoga system teaches that if you become silent, you will realize that you are God. The system may be all right for materialistic persons, but how long will they be able to keep themselves silent? Artificially, they may sit down for so-called meditation, but immediately after their yogic performance, they will engage themselves again in such activities as illicit sex life, gambling, meat eating, and and many other nonsensical things. But a Krishna conscious person gradually elevates himself without endeavoring for this so-called silent meditation. Simply because he is engaged in Krishna consciousness, he automatically gives up all this nonsense and develops a high character. One develops the highest character by becoming a pure devotee of Krishna. The conclusion is that no one can truly have any good qualities if he is lacking Krishna consciousness.
Very good, no? One is not Krishna conscious cannot sit silently even for a half an hour. The yoga system teaches that if you become silent, you will realize that you are God. But it is not correct. The system may be all right for materialistic persons. But how long will they be able to keep themselves silent? One cannot see because mind is active, always active. Soul is always active. So artists they will sit down for so-called meditation, but immediately after the performance, they will engage themselves again in such activity now. Because mind is still polluted. But a Krishna conscious person gradually elevates himself without endeavoring for this so-called silent meditation. Simply because he is engaged in Krishna consciousness, he automatically gives up all the nonsense because his mind becomes pure, purified. One develops the highest character by becoming a pure devotee of Krishna. Okay. So when you become pure devotee, you develop the highest character because you're completely Krishna conscious. That's the highest character you have then. So even the so-called good character person without Krishna consciousness is no character because he's prone to get carried away in so many varieties of things. So one develops the highest characters. Like devotion gives stability to character. Like Hanumanji, you see what kind of character. When he ran to Lanka also, he was completely having unwavering focus and he did not get distracted because he had devotion. He did not get carried away, even though he witnessed many queens of Ravana and others. In not so appropriate state, still he was unaffected. How? Because he was having solid devotion. The devotion can give stability to character. One develops the highest character by becoming a pure dedication. The conclusion is that no one can truly have any good quality if he is lacking Krishna consciousness. Yes. So now next will be happiness in Krishna consciousness. So Kleshagni Shubhada. Then after that, called this is Sudurlabha, fourth one, and this is called Moksha Laghuta Krita and Shri Krishna Akarshani. Yeah, and the third one, I mean, always the English one. One automatically puts one in translation. Anyway, so yes, any reflection anybody has? Any reflection? No reflection?
Like where it said, a person who is engaged in devotional service and full Krishna consciousness is to be understood to be doing the best service to the whole world and to be pleasing everyone in the world.
Yes. Jayapur, today you put your video off. Today you put your video off.
No. Well, it said audio only, so I figured we weren't doing video.
Yeah. You're not putting video on today?
Prabhuji, my reflection is I like that the greatest welfare work that we can do for others is to promote Krishna consciousness and also be in Krishna consciousness ourselves. And I like that there was discussion about
What is the first thing you said?
that Krishna consciousness is the greatest welfare activity that you can do for the world. And there was the comparison with the United Nations that the United Nations is designed to bring everyone together and to design to help the nations, but it's clearly not working. And it wasn't working when His Holiness Prabhupada wrote this book, and it's working much less today. So that's evidence that the United Nations is not working. So that's not the greatest welfare activity, and it explains that can really develop good qualities within Krishna consciousness and outside of Krishna consciousness. My own reflection is that you can be a good person, but then there's a much higher tendency to slip and fall and to engage in bad activities like lust and anger and greed, and even though one may not notice that they're going into these bad activities, in the end it can result in a really significant fall down.
What are you saying? They know what? They don't know what?
My own personal reflection was that if someone is not in Krishna consciousness or not practicing devotional service and not associating with devotees, then there's a chance that that person can fall down in society, and they can become like absorbed in anger or lust or greed, or they could start to lose direction in their life without knowing, start to not only become more materialistic, but start to have like illicit relationships and start to doing inappropriate things. And I think with Krishna consciousness, because of the firm faith that we have in the Lord and the direction which Krishna consciousness is taking us, and then we are supported by other devotees, then we are much less likely to fall down and much less likely to get contaminated by like the material nature. And if there is a fall down, it's maybe a much smaller fall down.
What you said, those people who are not devotees, for them, they get into all this wrong things, you're saying, no?
Yeah, like a non-Krishna consciousness person, like even if he may be good or studying, like you mentioned, in Harvard or MIT, if he doesn't have like the background of devotional service and he doesn't have the faith of Krishna, doesn't have the association with devotees and doesn't follow bhakti, then there's a chance that he or she may fall down into the material world deeply, and they could engage in like lust or anger or greed and engage in like illicit relations, and the fall down can be quite significant. And if this happens to a devotee, then it may be a much smaller fall down, like because they are able to pick themselves back up most likely and reassociate with devotees and reinstill firm faith in the Lord. So they're a lot more protected, and their qualities are a lot stronger, and the character may be a lot stronger as well.
Okay, so this is for those people who are not Krishna conscious, correct, no?
Yes.
Okay. Any other reflection? Anybody else? Punamata, you want to share any point? Hare Krishna? Any reflection? Not clear at all. Okay. Okay then. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaurav Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna. So Xavier, we are coming on this Saturday morning.
I don't know yet. I'm gonna try.
Yes.
I'm gonna try. It depends. Yeah, it depends what time we get back to the temple after the session on Friday.
Yeah. If it becomes difficult for you, then what you can do is you did not drop me. Somebody else can drop, I can ask. And then you can come in the morning directly. Or if you come to temple, then you can stay back in the temple if you are able to.
Okay.
If you are able to stay back in the temple, there's no issue. It's fine.
Yeah.
Why to make it further delay? Anyway, you won't get up in the morning, so you can sleep in the temple and attend the whole program, then go back.
Mhm.
Yeah. But yeah, I understand. You like your bed. Maybe you
Yes.
can